Hey Jenny, ready for another tech deep dive? Today, we're diving into CloudBees and, get this, they're celebrating 15 years in the DevOps game.
15 years? Wow, that's like ancient history in the tech world. Okay, so they started with Jenkins, right? That super popular open source automation server?
Spot on. Sacha Laboure, François Deschery, and Kosuke Kawaguchi, the actual creator of Jenkins, founded the company. They saw the massive potential of Jenkins and built an enterprise-grade platform around it. But CloudBees didn't just stick with Jenkins, you know?
Right, they've grown. I've been doing some digging, and it seems like they've expanded into this, complete times DevSecOps thing. What does that actually mean? Times sums, though.
Okay, so, basically, they're providing tools and platforms to automate the entire software development lifecycle. We're talking from the very first line of code, all the way to deployment and monitoring. And, this is key, they build security into every single step. Think of an assembly line, but for software, with quality control and security checks at every time station.
Okay, that clicks. So instead of slapping security on at the very end like an afterthought, it's baked in from the get-go. You know what this is giving me vibes of? That whole shift left movement in security, where you tackle those vulnerabilities way earlier in the process.
Bingo! And they've hit some milestones. I was just reading they're profitable, with over $150 million in annual recurring revenue. That's a whole lot of money, Jenny.
No doubt. And they've got some seriously big-name clients, right? I saw Adobe, Salesforce, even, get this, the IRS are all using CloudBees.
Yep. Over 500 enterprise customers all over the globe. And it's not just about the number of customers, it's the sheer scale of what they're doing. We're talking massive deployments, handling millions of transactions. It's kind of like, picture those enormous cargo ships. They're moving vast amounts of software, securely and efficiently.
I love that analogy. Okay, so let's dive into some of their specific innovations. I'm especially curious about this Smart Tests AI thing. It sounds, well, pretty intelligent.
Oh, at times intelligent. They acquired a company called Launchable, which is all about AI-powered testing. And, hold on, it gets even more interesting. They're claiming up to 80% faster test execution times. 80%!
Whoa, hang on a sec. Can we unpack that? How does AI actually make testing that times much quicker?
Okay, so, think about it. Traditionally, testing can be a massive times bottleneck. You have to run these tests, time you tweak the code. But with AI, it can analyze the code changes and predict which tests are most likely to be impacted. So, instead of running everything, it zeroes in on them most important tests.
So it's like, instead of searching your whole house for your keys, you only check the rooms you remember being in. That's clever, but I can already hear some of our listeners thinking, okay, but what about the tests you skip? What if there's a bug hiding in there?
That's a very astute question, and it's something they address. The AI is constantly learning and getting better at its predictions. And, naturally, you still run the tests periodically, just not every single time. It's about finding that sweet spot between speed and mitigating risk.
Right. It's a calculated risk, but one that's guided by data and AI. But what if the AI makes a mistake? I mean, are we comfortable relying so much on AI for something so important?
That's a fair concern, Jenny, and a big one in the industry. It ties into the counter-argument about AI and predictive analytics. While the speed boost is tempting, there's always the potential for false negatives. Basically, missed bugs. Research shows that AI-driven testing needs continuous validation. We can't just blindly trust it. We need to make sure it's not skipping crucial tests.
Okay, that makes sense. So, moving on, what about this Jenkins High Availability mode? What's the story there?
This is about reliability and scalability. Picture this. You're a massive company, and your entire software development pipeline depends on Jenkins. If Jenkins crashes, everything comes to a screeching halt. High availability mode prevents that. It's like having backup generators for your whole system.
So it's like super important uptime. They're talking about greater than 99.999% SLA adherence. Those are some impressive numbers.
They are. And it's all built on Kubernetes, which is this container orchestration technology. Whoops, almost went full-on nerd there.
Laughs. It's okay, Mark. We appreciate your nerdy deep dives. But I think the key takeaway is that CloudBees is making it easier for these huge companies to handle their incredibly complex software development, and to do it primes reliably. But doesn't all this fancy tech come with a hefty price tag? I mean, can smaller companies even afford this?
That's a great point, and it's a valid counterargument. While CloudBees offers a lot, implementing DevSecOps tools on a large scale can be a big financial burden. It takes resources. And not every company has that. It might be a barrier for smaller organizations, or those with tighter budgets.
Yeah, makes you wonder. Another point on the integration of all of this, isn't shifting security all the way left going to be, well, a pain for developers?
It can be. That is another potential issue. Integrating security that early means developers need a lot more security knowledge. It adds complexity, and there's a learning curve. So while it's great for catching problems early, it can also slow things down initially.
That's a really important consideration. Okay, so, shifting gears a little, they've also beefed up their leadership team, right? Bringing in execs from places like PayPal and Cisco, it's like they're building a DevOps dream team.
Exactly. It shows their commitment to growth and expertise.
So, I have to ask the crystal ball question. Where do you see CloudBees heading in the future? What's the next big thing for them?
Well, considering their focus on AI, I think we'll see even more machine learning woven into their products, maybe even predictive analytics, to spot problems before times they even happen. Imagine a self-healing software development pipeline. That's where my head's at.
That's an intriguing vision. So, to sum it all up, CloudBees has come a long times way from its Jenkins roots. They're a major force in the DevSecOps world, helping companies build and deploy software faster, more securely, and more reliably. And with their AI focus, they're one to keep an eye on. Maybe we should do a poll? See what our listeners think is more important for the future of DevOps. AI or container orchestration? Like Kubernetes?
I like that. Great way to get our listeners involved. And maybe we can do a segment where we debate some common DevOps approaches, like Agile versus Scrum. Get some different viewpoints in here.
Ooh, a DevOps debate segment. I love it. We could even have listeners weigh in on social media with a hashtag. And what about a myth-busting episode? There are so many misconceptions about DevOps.
Jenny, you're a genius. We could ask listeners to tweet us the myths they hear at work. And we definitely need to do regular listener Q&A sessions. We could even invite a listener on to share their DevSecOps success story.
Yes! We can do call-ins, voice messages, make it a real community thing. All right, Mark, another great deep dive. I feel like a DevSecOps expert now. Almost.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Jenny. It's been a journey, and I'm pumped to see what the next 15 years bring for CloudBees and the whole DevOps landscape.